Thank you for tuning in to our very first episode called Episode 0 of the Phanime Bros Podcast. I am your host, Alfie Tovar, aka Keymaster Lifts, and with me is my co-host, my brother from the same mother, Tony Tovar, aka Tony of the Blood Mist _7. How are you doing?
Hey.
Thanks
for tuning in,
very
everyone.
First episode. So, I mean, it's kind of a long time coming. We've been talking about this for forever.
Since we lived together, like we were talking about the Paper House podcast.
Yeah,
we went
that was
through
really
a lot
cool.
of names.
I mean, it was something that we want to do, but it was a different theme. There we were kind of just going to talk about really anything and everything. You know, the reason why we call it Paper House Podcast is because the walls were made out of plaster
with like paper
covering. I had to cut holes in the wall one time, and we're like, hey, it's like paper. So we figured calling it Paper House Podcast would have been pretty cool. But what ended up happening is I ended up moving, and you moved now. You know, I live in California, where we were born, kind of by Hollister, the Bay Area. You're at right now.
I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where it's cold as hell.
Well, I mean, it's fucking raining. It's crazy over here, so it's I guess not that much more worse than where you're at. But eventually, I'm going to go over there and check it out.
Yeah, definitely got it. Yeah. Summertime is going to be really cool.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I just wanted to kind of do a quick, small little episode. This is kind of like us just telling a little bit about what this podcast is going to be about, essentially. Well, our viewers don't really, if we have any out there, don't really know too much about us, but we're going to give a little info about who we are. Tony and I, we've been obviously brothers for our whole life. Yep. we grew up into the same things compared to our other siblings. I'm the oldest of four. Tony's the second oldest of the four. But we kind of grew up closer in age and kind of have the same hobbies and same interests in mind. We have some cousins who are into comic books, into Marvel growing up, and we kind of hung out with them, being the younger kids and them being older teens. We kind of started checking out what they were checking out. I remember just seeing like the Punisher poster and being like, dude, that's really cool. It's a Punisher. He has the gun with all the graffiti behind him. It's like an old school. Yeah. Maybe I could try to pull that up on here so we could see what that looks like. But it's just stuff like that, kind of, people talking about like Superman, Wolverine, a lot of, Marvel and DC stuff that we basically grew up around, and then we also listened and watched a lot of, animation compared to, other kids, like a lot of the Batman animated series, the Ninja Turtle animated series, all of those stuff that came out at 6 a.m. Yeah. But what led that into, waking up at 6 a.m. before school, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon was always on. And that was our very first, I guess, peek into anime, which we at the time didn't really know it was anime. We just like, oh, this is a cool cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I remember, we had this big, this small little TV in our room, and we turned it on in the morning, and Dragon Ball Z would be going on, and I'd be like, oh, what's this?
And it was in Spanish. Like, I remember watching it in Spanish.
Yeah, it's really funny. But that's funny that you talk about Spanish, but we'll get that in another episode. I kind of fell into this rabbit hole of why a lot of anime back in the day was in Spanish, but we can save that for another episode because that's very, very interesting to talk about. But, so every episode that we're going to do is going to be a little different. We're going to talk a little about this, a little bit about that, kind of stuff that piques my interest and Tony's interest on, what we in our everyday lives. We're very involved, on social media, seeing what's going on with Marvel, going on the websites, a part of groups and stuff like that, which we get to see and hear a lot of people's ideas and theories, and all these trailers are coming out and stuff like that. And as of recently, it's just a lot of stuff's been going on, so it's been very interesting. So I'll say, Tony, if you can, just tell everybody a brief, what's your current favorite show right now to watch, whether it's anime, something on Disney Plus, something on HBO Max, like anything. What's your favorite show that you're watching right now?
I would have to say right now, I just finished The Flash all the way up to the new season that starts in next month. So that's been really cool. Like, I've always been a big fan of the CW DC universe. Like, sucks that it's coming to an end, but the Flash show is probably like top of the list, as well as on Hulu, just catching up on Boruto.
To speak on the Flash, you're the one who got me into the Flash show, and I got hooked. I mean, I haven't been keeping up with it as of recently, but I remember when I was living with you, I was watching it a lot more. And I know King Shark. Yeah, when King Shark came on the scene, I thought for being a TV show, the animation was really fucking cool.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
honestly got a little bit better. Like the
okay,
costumes got a little cheesier, but the storylines and the graphics are always pretty good.
yeah, you know, and then I know a big one that everybody talked about with CW was with Green Arrow.
Yes.
Yeah, and everybody talks highly about that show. I still haven't. I've watched a few episodes here and there when you would watch it. You know, I try to watch it on my own. I had a couple friends who were into it also, but I never really piqued my interest because at that time I started getting into watching back into anime
Yeah.
again, and that's kind of what started taking more of my attention. But my favorite show that I'm watching right now is obviously One Piece. I started watching One Piece after I finished Naruto, and after I was caught up with all like you know, Demon Slayer, Fire Force, in Black Clover. I got all caught up with those shows, and they weren't going to be coming out for a while. So I ended up just kind of giving One Piece a chance because I was like, you know what, there's a lot of episodes. I'll watch it. I'll see what the hype's about. You know, if I like it, cool. If not, then whatever.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was that after the first several episodes, I got hooked, and then I've been watching it ever since. So now I'm all caught up with the anime, but now I'm also caught up with the manga, which I just caught up
Oh
2 nights
wow.
ago. The volumes are really, the chapters are really small, so I'm able to read them within 30 minutes. I could read a bunch of chapters,
Oh okay.
so I'm pretty much caught up with that, and you know, that's just one of my favorite shows I'm watching right now.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, and then could you tell us, you know, what's so I obviously said, you know, your favorite show of all time is going to be The Flash, right?
Right.
My favorite show of all time is going to be X Files. Obviously, you know that
Yep.
X Files. You know, and I actually started rewatching season one again the other night, and I could only watch the first several seasons because I watched it all the way through, and the last several seasons are just dog shit.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah,
Honestly, I've only
yeah.
watched like one season of X Files, and like,
I mean, you're not really. It's better to watch those that one season, 2 seasons of compared to the very last 2 seasons because one, the storyline, it went from, you know, having those creature features certain episodes which would be like, you know, Tombs or the Fluke monster, and it went from, you know, having those thrown in to being strictly about aliens, which I get it, in the government, but then it took this weird turn where it almost seemed like the show writers or the producers or something just didn't know which way to go and kind of went in one direction and then tried to go the other direction,
no.
and it just, honestly, it sucked. And then they came out with a new season in 2017,
Right. Yeah, I remember
and
that
you know, it just wasn't. I was disappointed, but other than that, that's my favorite like non-animation cartoon
show.
show that
Nice.
I'm kind of trying to watch again, even though I've seen it a billion times.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit on what my favorite anime show, which is going to be, you know, One Piece. It used to be Naruto, but we can get into that later of why I kind of feel One Piece is a little better than Naruto. But Naruto does have a special place in my heart.
Right.
What would be your favorite anime show right now?
Right now, it is still going to be Naruto, but of all time, I'm going to side with Dragon Ball Z since that was what I watched in the beginning. You know, I'm rewatching Super Dragon Ball Z Super, which my daughter is actually watching it with me now, and she loves Beerus because she calls him the purple kitty. But
That's awesome.
it's definitely, the graphics on Super is really good. The story, I know everyone tends to shit on Dragon Ball because it's just, you know, Goku getting stronger to fight the next guy, but it's, you know, it's always gonna have that special place in my heart because that's what we grew up watching.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that she was watching. You sent me some pictures. You sent me some pictures of her watching the, you know, Dragon Ball Z with you, and it
Yeah,
was really cute. I'll probably throw a screenshot up there for you so everybody can see if you're watching. Just to let everybody know, we're also going to be on, you know, all social medias, TikTok, some clips on TikTok. We're also going to do, yeah, obviously Instagram. We have an Instagram, and then we're also going to create a YouTube channel. So if you guys are listening and you want to see what we look like or just watch it on the show, you can just go ahead and follow our links to our YouTube channel, which would be in the description below. And we should be on Spotify and iTunes as well.
yeah,
But that's just a little bit of what's behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure people don't want to hear about that.
yeah.
But Let me see right here. Uh, Bigger question: what's your favorite, and who is your favorite Marvel character and or DC character? You can pick anyone, or if you have one from each, it's fine. But just
Well,
curious.
it's kind of funny with the DC one. Everyone would think it'd be like Flash because I love the show. But as far as like comic books, shows, it's probably going to be lean on the side of a hero. As far as heroes, Batman. Growing up watching the Batman animated series has been so good, and the Joker is also one of my favorite characters of all time. As far as Marvel, it's a coin flip. I'm gonna say it's either gonna be Deadpool or Hulk. Hulk, it's always been the cool, strong character of all time, and Deadpool, growing, now that I'm older, is kind of like what our attitudes were when we were younger.
Yeah, that's great. Well, obviously we grew up together, so we kind of have the same favorite superheroes and our anti-heroes slash villains. From Marvel, Deadpool. Deadpool all the
Yeah,
way for me. Just the comic books alone. I was into the comic books before they came out with the movie. But before that, what kind of gave me a hint of, when I would read comic books, I would get, oh, there's this guy Deadpool. He's really funny, really interesting. But I remember at a time he wasn't funny. He was just more of just an assassin, right?
yeah,
And then I remember then when they did Ryan Reynolds came out in the Wolverine as like Deadpool. I was like, cool, it's gonna be cool. We're gonna check it out, and he was garbage
yeah. He
in
was
that movie.
utterly dog
But I
shit in that
but
movie.
but I did see the potential of what he could have been,
Oh
which
yeah,
was like, okay, you know, Green Lantern for him, garbage. It had its points, right? But Green Lantern sucked.
yeah, oh
I
yeah,
feel like everybody knows it sucks. Even Ryan Reynolds said it sucked himself. But when he came out with the Deadpool in that Wolverine, what was it, Wolverine Origins?
yeah. It
We
was
got
one
used
of
to
the
we have to do our
Wolverines.
research.
Going
Yeah. So his snarky remarks. I was like, dude, that kind of sounds like what Deadpool would say. And I was like, okay, I get it. And then when he released, he's going to come out with the Deadpool movie. I started going more in and just buying his comic books directly. No matter what the storyline was. I
yeah,
mean, I guess majority of my comic book collection is all Deadpool.
right,
Um, and I met some of the artists who drew Deadpool at the Silicon Valley Comic Con, which
yeah,
is obviously smaller. But I got to meet one of the artists who drew him, not Liefeld himself, but one of the artists, and he signed it. And I have a picture somewhere. I usually have it hanging up, but all that stuff's in storage. As far as DC goes, Batman. It can't get any cooler than Batman,
yeah.
right? I
No one's gonna
mean,
get cooler than Batman.
I don't know. Like I tried to give other people, like I like Superman. I think Henry Cavill was the best Superman,
Yeah,
obviously of the day. I mean, obviously the old school Superman has its point in time, but these days and age with of how he looks and everything, and how how a lot of the computer animation and the CG is. It's just obviously it's going to be better, right?
yeah,
Um, so I mean, I can't really say like, oh, for sure anybody else but Batman. Batman's been one of the ones that I kind of been following the most.
yeah. And he has the
Um,
best villains of all time as well.
yeah. I mean, compared to other people, when you like dive into like the old school stuff of who their villains are, it's just kind of whack.
Right. Yeah. Like you can
But
honestly, you can't really name like five of each superhero, like of their villains.
yeah,
But
you
Batman,
got
you
Two
have a
Face.
plethora of. You got
You got
Bane.
Poison Ivy, Bane. You got all these cool villains, which I feel in the movies don't do justice, because if you read the comic books, they're so in depth with the villains. I feel like the villains in DC have better like story arcs than a lot of Marvel bad guys.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I
They
mean?
definitely
So
do.
I just feel like DC has some things that are better than Marvel. Marvel has some things that are better than DC.
Yeah.
But those are for Marvel and DC. Villain wise, obviously, it could be really pretty much anybody in the Batman Rogue Gallery of who's my
Oh yeah.
favorite, because they all have interesting stories behind them. But obviously, Joker. I mean,
Yeah.
not just because Heath Ledger played Joker, but Joker back in the day when we were just reading the comic books was just such a menace, and he just wanted to be chaotic, right?
Yeah. Even
And
in
which
the
is
in
cool.
the animated series, he was the same way.
Yeah, and Mark Hamill,
Yep.
the best voice actor for
For
him.
a
So
villain.
yeah,
Yeah.
another thing that I know that you're really into, and I'm kind of starting to get into it as well, is Funko.
Yeah. With Funko, honestly, it started with like a gift from my sister in law. She gave me a zombie Thor, and it kind of just downward spiraled into like buying them like quickly. Like I went from like 3 or 4 to like 40 Marvel pops in like about 2 or 3 months. Um,
Yeah,
and
you could
especially with Marvel, they're
resell
so
them for a lot
cheap
of money,
and you
right?
can get them so quickly.
Oh, can you? You could resell them, right, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I honestly
Like,
just
there's a pretty
offloaded
big
all
community
of my
for it.
Marvel pops for a really good
Really?
amount, and I ended up I kept like a couple Marvel ones. I kept my DC ones, and then of course I kept the Batman ones because I'm a I'm a Robert Pattinson Batman fan. So I
Oh, okay.
bought them all. I kept them.
It's all about
Um,
Batfleck here.
yeah. See, and that's the beauty of Batman is like we got so many variations that people love. But I think my biggest obsession with Funko was Naruto. I have some of the Naruto pops that a lot of people can't find, or are spending a crazy amount of money on. Um, those were like hard to find at first. Like some like Itachi was a hard one to find, and now I think I have all of them except for the one of the exclusive ones, which I have like the base variant one, but yeah, those have been really cool to like find and like keep throughout. Probably building throughout the show. I will have shelves behind me that I will display most of my Naruto pops. I do have a couple of, like movie ones. I do have the Wayne's World where they're in their hockey gear. That's
Oh,
probably
it's
like the
awesome.
coolest one of the coolest ones I didn't want to get rid of. And I do have like one from signed by Chris Sabat when I met him at a Comic Con when I first moved out here to Indiana. Super cool guy. He was actually telling me that he was the original voice of Vegeta in Spanish for the first couple years until they actually got a Spanish voice actor, which was like
Oh,
the
that's
coolest
awesome.
thing. And I know a lot of people in the younger age now will when they think of Chris Sabat, they think of the All Might, which for me,
Yeah.
it's always gonna be Vegeta.
I guess now it's more of Zoro for me now.
Yeah,
But since I'm reading the manga, it's like they have little things in there that the animes don't. But like, just to say, Chris Abbott, awesome.
yeah.
He's one of my favorite characters in Black Clover. I don't know if you
Oh
guys
yeah,
ever
he's
if
even
you
in
ever seen
Black
it.
Clover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, which is pretty cool. I think what we're planning on doing is eventually having a Patreon. As far as I know, the community, as far as me, my friends, a lot of my friends. In my background is a lot of music. I've been playing music. Obviously, for my
Long
whole
time.
life.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends, in bands and stuff, didn't really talk too much about, fandom or anything. They kind of would talk, oh yeah, that movie's cool, but they never would be like talk shop about comic books.
Oh
I
yeah.
did have one group of friends who talked shop about WWF, and
And that
yeah,
is big
and
still.
and in which I used to watch it a lot back in the day with you. I kind of watch it here and there on Peacock, but not so much anymore. And I kind of whatever I see on TikTok, I'll watch.
Yeah.
But they were kind of elitists
Oh
when
yeah.
it came to the
Oh
WWF. So it
yeah.
was
I
like
remember.
if I said, "Oh, I like this guy," which would be kind of like you're a Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior, they'd be like, "Oh, dude, that guy's mid." Blah blah. You know what I mean? You're not a real wrestling fan, and I'm just like, dude, I watched Raw when Raw was at its prime.
Yeah, as far as like WWE, which was super cool. Like I still watch it. Honestly, like I will watch like the pay-per-views since they're on Peacock and we have Peacock. But like throughout the week through the show, I won't sit like on a Monday or Friday and watch it. I will kind of like there's a cool guy on TikTok that I follow that kind of summarizes it. But I usually watch that or like on Fridays with, one character named Bray Wyatt. Super cool. Like I tend to watch him because he tends to be like that last of that like mystique like wrestlers who have like magic like the Undertaker, like
Yeah,
which was
yeah.
cool, like but it started to turn into like they're just recycling some of these characters, like the Rock's cousin is in here and he's basically the Rock now, like they kind of just turned that into that, or you know but it's been really cool. And like as we got older and wrestling, the internet got bigger, wrestling has turned more into like what you don't want to see, is like shows are being
Soap
like
opera.
pre-taped, so you're getting results ahead of time, which is kind of not really the funnest anymore of like watching it and being
It seemed like a live show.
yeah
You're like live on TV of how it was back in the day. I remember seeing some certain things on TV when we were watching the show, like that one. What's her name? I forgot her name. They ripped off her top, and we saw like her chest
yeah.
on TV. I remember being like, ooh, young, being like, whoa, those are some boobs on TV. And I mean, obviously now they can't do that because a lot of things is very PC, right? But
Oh yeah, a lot of it
um,
now I think they are like PG, so like I know they had talked about going to like back to PG-13 to make it a little bit more like throw in a cuss word here and there, but yeah, that really hasn't changed much as far as that. And you know,
Yeah.
it's turned in more to like, like the Kardashians with wrestling now, because like they all have their own TV shows now. They're all like, doing reality shows, which is kind of, it's cool, because it's what people want to see nowadays. But as far as being like an old school wrestling fan, it gets kind of boring.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, like the stuff I've seen, I kind of just when I go by it, I'm like, up next, swipe,
Exactly.
swipe. You know what I mean? So I mean, but there's a couple of old school stories that I see that interest me. Like when they talk about Ric Flair, talk about his past,
Yeah.
talk about a lot of like the big legends. Is kind of what gets my attention more than the new stuff. Like I don't know anybody of the new wrestling now. I'll kind of watch it and be like, oh, who's that? Who's that? And I have to do my research.
Yeah, there's actually a cool documentary show on, I think it's on Hulu, called Dark Side of the Ring, where like they do go over like those stories of like, things that are like went wrong in WWE, like about maybe like Chris Benoit and like other wrestlers who were like, had that dark past and had the tragic ends. But it's a really cool show, like if you're a fan of old school wrestling, because it does bring out like stories that you never really got to see.
Oh, well, that's cool. Well, I'm gonna have to check it out. I know I see some of it a little bit on TikTok. People post clips on TikTok, and I kind of watch it on there. And then I get like, okay, I'll probably check it on Peacock, but I never get around to it.
Yeah.
But another thing I wanted to bring up was what a big thing I think we should talk about too is like we're going to start from the beginning. We're going to do it in arcs though. So the listeners know a big part of the segments are going to be about One Piece because One Piece is big, it's hot. Everybody wants One Piece. It's so hot
Yes.
right now, right?
It definitely is.
That One Piece, it's so hot right now. But okay, so what I was thinking, well, what we're going to be doing is doing like, go through not episodes because going through each episode, there's over 1,000, episodes, which is going to take
Right.
forever for us to do. I mean, I guess we got content for a long time, but we want to talk about other stuff besides just One Piece.
Right.
So, we're going to have a little segment about One Piece where we're going to talk about the arc. So the arc would be a couple, chapters or, episodes. We'll break it all down and I'll be able to tell us what is what. But we'll start from the beginning with the arc of what it is and kind of do a summary of what's going on and then give your thoughts. I know that I'm way ahead of you in One Piece, and I know that you're prioritizing Baruto and stuff like that a little bit before it. But I know that you've been watching some episodes here and there,
Yeah.
and it'd be cool for us to just talk about it a little bit and see what other people think. I know, in my opinion, at first I was like, it's too long. The animation looks kind of weird. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I'm going to like it. People are hyping it up, but these people hyped up the same thing with like My Hero Academia. I remember seeing it on TikTok, people cosplaying it, and I was like, who the fuck is
Midoriya.
Deku?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? And they're like, who's this All My guy? And then I got a Funimation account, and then I just started watching. But I think at the time I might have watched them on Hulu. Yeah, I think I might have watched it on Hulu first, and then obviously got an account because I want to watch more of the
Right.
English dub. But now I'm just watching it in Japanese right now. But I feel like people really hate on One Piece but don't give it a chance. But once you give it a chance,
It's
it's
good.
pretty good. Like right now, I'm like I said, caught up with the manga, caught up with the anime. In the anime right now, they just had the most recent episode where Zoro and Sanji go up against um, King and Queen of the Animal Pirates, and their fight is freaking dope. In the
Nice.
manga, it's cool too, but I feel like sometimes in the manga everything looks kind of cluttered because there's a lot of stuff going on at once.
Right.
But to watch it animated is pretty fucking cool. But they're badasses, and that was one thing. It feels like I gotta grow to watch them grow to who they are right now,
Right.
and it was
Right.
kind of the same thing with Naruto. Naruto, I remember it was beginning of the pandemic. I was like, I have nothing to watch. I checked out this My Hero thing. I like it, and I'm gonna go into the big three. So I was like, I'm gonna check out one of the big three, which obviously the animation for One Piece didn't look that great, and then Bleach, I didn't like the animation of Bleach, and I was like, I
Yeah.
don't really understand what's going on with Bleach. And then I was like, I'm gonna start with Naruto first and see what's it about. Not as long episodes as One Piece, so I was like, I'll start off with something a little bit smaller.
Right.
But I liked the aesthetic of what I saw in Naruto,
Yeah.
which I thought
Same.
was
Same
pretty
here.
cool. Yeah, and after watching it, I would have to say Naruto has made me cry way more than One Piece, but One Piece has hit me in certain areas that Naruto hasn't, and that made me cry.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, which is pretty cool. But Naruto has a special place in my heart. But One Piece is definitely, the world is much bigger, more vibrant that I like.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
now the newer episodes, all the animations like up
Up to
to
date.
par. Yeah, so it looks cool. But so that's what I was thinking about doing. Just doing like each episode, do a little bit of One Piece. You talk about the arc, hear your thoughts. Because I mean, obviously you're just starting compared to, I don't know what episode you're on.
I think I'm on
You're
like
still
85, so I'm still,
oh, so
you know,
you're still pretty, yeah. So like what we could do is make some time for us. We're gonna take some time to watch them over, take notes, and then bring it to the table and talk about it.
right.
Um, I know that it's been really cool to see the growth of a show from episode 1 all the way to whatever it is.
Definitely.
The ending is, and One Piece obviously they said it's not ending anytime soon, which is cool. But I'm 35. I'm hoping I'm not 50 years old by the time the end, right?
Yeah.
But it'd be cool, you know what I mean? Because it'd be interesting. Because I want to hear your thoughts for somebody who is basically starting from the beginning,
Right.
compared to me, which I started watching One Piece almost a year ago. I think a little over a year ago I started watching
Yeah.
it by myself. So it'd be cool to get to pick your brain on that.
Definitely.
But yeah, so I mean that's kind of what our episodes are going to be about. Episode 0, obviously this is the prequel, as we're
Yep.
going to call it, a prequel, episode 0. We're going to start having everything else, e file 1, e file 2, e file 3, all one, so forth, until whenever we decide we don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
I know right now you have your spot set up for your office, and right now, obviously, I don't have really much space in my place, so I only got Ron Swanson up here. I'm going to get shelves eventually. I'm thinking about moving, so once I get a better place, I'll be able to show more of my toys.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So everybody out there, don't judge me too hard.
I just want, like, anyone who's like looking to talk about anime, wants to know about more, or even about the DC news, Marvel news. Like, it's definitely somewhere where we're gonna touch bases on. So if anyone has questions, hit us up on our Instagram or Facebook. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, we're not afraid to learn as well either.
Yeah. Just let everybody know we're not know-it-alls. We just enjoy talking about this stuff, because even if we weren't recording this, I'd be calling Tony, hey, did you see what happened in the news about the new Guardian of the Galaxy? Did you see blah, blah, blah? And he'd text me, hey, did you see this, blah, blah, blah. So we've always been in that conversation of some type of, fandom, whether it be anime or whatever. We do have a brother-in-law when we get around to hang out and talk, when we would have, get-togethers at our parents' house. He would ask us a lot of questions, and we would always be able to give him a lot of information of like what that Marvel character or what that DC character is,
Definitely.
and who they are, and kind of he would just like listen, and we were like, hey, people kind of are interested in hearing us talk about this kind of stuff. So figured, hey, might do something fun, get people involved. I should be setting up sometime soon, like some type of phone call, voicemail, so they could call and leave some voicemail for us.
Definitely.
But that's in the works. I mean, first step first. Right now, we got our Instagram set up. We got our TikTok set up. We got the YouTube set up. Right now, we're getting some logos made right now, and then we're going to eventually probably have some merch, some hats, shirts, sweaters, whatever we decide we want to do. Yeah. I mean, it just really depends on how everybody takes to checking us out.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be cool to have some guests out there. So if you're out there and you have a podcast or TikTok or whatever you do, and you want to like get on here with us and talk to us about whatever you want to talk about fandom, let's do it.
Definitely.
Obviously we're going to have some stuff already. You could just jump in on. Then if everybody could, follow our, our IG and TikTok and our YouTube, so we could, start growing this a little bit more and more. I know it's a slow start, but I feel like we're going to get somewhere with this.
Oh yeah, I think we'll get the ball.
It feels
going.
pretty natural for us to do this, and you maybe might have another co-host. We don't know.
Yeah, we're bringing someone else.
Starting off, I know your wife, Kat, enjoys our conversations too, and she watches the anime with you from time to time.
Yep.
So maybe we could bring her on and have her pick her brain. I know she enjoys talking with us.
Oh yeah.
And it's her and I. We always, when I was living with you guys, we always had funny conversations.
Oh yeah.
We would have game nights and have some drinks and it was just fun. So you never know. Like it's anything's open to round of possibilities. We've been wanting to do this for a while, but I know I got sick for a week, and then I got better, and then I got sick again.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling a little better now. But anything else you want to talk about before we end the show?
No, I think that's it. I think it covered a lot of our bases as the intro. This is the origin story of what we're going to be bringing to you. Hopefully, maybe every week or every 2 weeks, depending on our schedules, with work and
Mm-hmm.
kids, family life.
Yeah. Because I know you're married and you have a daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. My girlfriend and I are pregnant, and we have a little one, a 5-year-old. So working full time, it's kind of hard. Really, realistic. I feel like Sundays are really our weekends are really the best times to do it, but we're going to do the best we can.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously this is only going to be like a little bit of over 30 minutes, but for the first episode, but we might have it be a little longer. In the future, but depending on how things go. But all right, man. Well, I wanted to thank everybody for listening. If feel free to follow us on our TikTok at the Phanime Bros Podcast, and TikTok's the same handle, and then the same thing with YouTube. So you can go to the Phanime Bros Podcast in the search bar. You can find us right there, and I'll be posting links to everything. So in case you guys want to do it that way, thank you guys for checking in, and we're very excited.
All right, thanks, guys. Later.